What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. It is Saturday night, and that means it is time for our Westgate Supercontest picks. Craig, how you doing tonight? We've been back and forth on a number of these games. Done some work on Sports Grid. We've done some work here on this live stream, and we're ready to make our picks. How you feeling about this week's card?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's at the point now, as we talked about earlier in the week, where we only have a few weeks left. So we kind of have to identify how we can get to either first place or even get into the top 100. There's over 1,100 people in the Super Contest. Howard and I are on the doorstep of the top 200, which is a tremendous accomplishment, but doesn't cash. Last week we went 3-2, started off 3-0, lost the two night games. Had we won one of those, we would have been on the cusp of the top 100, but we did lose the two night games. So on the season, we're 35-30. We're 2 games out of cashing. We're 8 games out of $1 million, and we got a few weeks to go to try to get there. I think that Howard and I are certainly shooting for the top 100, but it would be nice to get $1 million too if we end up getting that. But I'm very proud of the last 2 years of what we've been able to accomplish here. It's the Super Bowl of betting contests. Everyone thinks that they could just pick games and pick winners, and if they did, they wouldn't be doing things like this. They'd be retired. They wouldn't have to work. It's very hard to do, and look, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight right down to the end of this thing. We certainly the last few weeks have spent a lot more time on the picks, going back and forth and discussing them to make sure that Howard and I are on the right page. And I think, Howard, the one thing for people who are entering in contests like this, and they always think, well, I want to have my own picks. I think the best part about what we've done is, like, you give me my checks and balances, and I give you your checks and balances.
Exactly.
And so there are a lot of times where I'll be on something, you'll be like, I don't know, it ends up losing. You'll be on something, you'll be like, I don't know, it ends up losing. We end up switching, and more often than not, that has happened. So I really feel good about this week. I think we have a good shot. We're obviously hoping for 4-1 or 5-0. 3-2 would be fine. It's not going to get us into the money. But I think the other strategy, and obviously for anybody who's participating in a contest of this magnitude, is that once we get to week 16 and week 17, while the picks do become easier, because the Super Contest lines come out on Wednesday, so by the time the games come out, Howard, on Sunday, there's some playoff teams that are going to be clinched. They're easy wins. But right, are those wins the ones you want? Because we're going to have to take a contrarian approach to cash. That's just part of this. We're going to have to take some teams that nobody is and hope that they win. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close.
Well, like you said, 2 games off of the cash line right now, 2 wins off of that. So, right now we can just kind of go with our picks this week and next week and worry about that in a little while. You say 8 games off of $1 million, and it's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Not far. Not far. I mean, look, the reality is, I know it sounds crazy, but with how difficult the contest is, there's only, I think, 30 people that are above 60% in 2020. And it's like, if you know nothing about wagering and you think you could just do this on your own, and when we said, 60% is great. If you didn't know, you'd be like, what, 60%? That's terrible, 6 out of 10. It's the best in the world. 6 out of 10 is the best in the world at sports betting. So that's kind of where we're at. If we go 5-0 for the rest of the way, we're going to win the contest.
Right, yes. If we go 5-0 the rest of the way, we will be doing this live stream from our yacht in the south of France.
We're going to win.
Enjoying that. No doubt about it. All right, so let's get to it, man. Let's talk about our picks for the night and see where we're going to go. We're going to start it off with our friends, the Jaguars, right? We're going to take the 7.5 points that we're getting from from the card here. The line, as I see it right now, is still sitting at 7.5. So we're not getting any value on it, but listen, I think that the Jags have been playing competitive enough ball that they're going to be able to, keep this game close. I don't expect them to win. I don't need them to win. Just keep it within a touchdown. And again, I love having that 0.5 hook there.
Yeah, the line actually is 7 in some places, but you're right, 7.5 is pretty much the line. Remember, it opened up a lot more, but a lot of people are backing Jacksonville, which was one of our picks last week. I don't think that Jacksonville will be a heavily selected team this week in the contest. So that's another reason why I think that this is a very positive pick for us. And yes, it's a pro-Jacksonville pick. I think it's also an anti-Tennessee pick to a degree. This team is a good team, but I kind of prefer the Titans team of 2019, and that was the team that played great defense and ran the ball. And to me, in watching all of these games, unfortunately, all season long, I got to tell you, how many teams have a worse defense than Tennessee in the NFL this year? Are there 5? I mean, I don't know, Howard. They keep getting blasted every week, and I don't think the Browns should have put up that many points on them. And even when they were up big on Indianapolis the week that they beat them, Indianapolis roared right back. I think they put up a 30 spot on them in that game, or 25, something like that. So, long story short,
the defense has definitely been weak. It's definitely like the secondary. It ranks 30th. If you track things like DVOA and defensive rankings, right there, 30th against the pass, not strong at all. And if Glennon's going to be chucking it, and he has been with guys like DJ Chark and Colin Johnson, the rookie, they've got a couple of receivers there who are, at least stepping up. And if that happens in garbage time, so be it. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is that, Howard, you've been watching football for 40 years, 30 years, or whatever it is. I have, too. And look, I'm sure there have been better teams in the history of football that have been 1-11, but Jacksonville does seem like a team that does fight, no matter what their record is, every week, and they play right down to the end. Even in games they didn't cover, they seem to play to the end. And so that'll be our first pick. Jacksonville +7 at home.
7.5, Craig.
7.5.
Don't sell us short there.
We need the half.
We need that half.
We need the half.
All right, next game we're looking at here, we're going to take our first favorite of the week, the Carolina Panthers. We're taking them laying only 3 points against the Broncos. Now, we're getting some value on this pick too, right? Because this pick is actually, where are you seeing that spread right now? Carolina 2.5 is what I'm seeing.
I got 3.5 here. Yeah, I see 3.5.
Depends on where you're looking here.
I guess so. We're all gonna have different stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I see a 2.5 here. I see a -3. Yeah. So we're right in there.
Yeah. Not much value here. Look, both teams have the same record.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch these two teams play all season long, Carolina is a much better team than Denver, in my opinion. The Broncos play very conservative. This is the same story all season long. And if you've watched our live streams, it's funny, now we could say this after 3 months. If you've watched our live streams all season long, we don't get caught up on what happened last week. We don't get caught up on what happened in week 5. It's a week-to-week league. And on a week-to-week basis, Denver is playing great at home and terrible on the road. I mean, this is just what's happening with them, with the exception of when they had the COVID quarterback thing. So I fully will expect us to be back on the Broncos bandwagon next week when they return to Mile High. I just, for whatever reason, teams just don't play well there. Carolina plays very aggressive. Their offensive coordinator, I think, has done a great job all season long. The Panthers seem to be pretty consistent in games till the end. They played great against Minnesota a couple weeks ago. They ended up losing. They're also a team that's fighting at this point. The draft pick, I don't think, is relevant for them. 0-13, 0-14. They've won enough games. Basically, the line is telling you that there is no favorite, that these teams are the same because they've made Carolina a 3-point favorite because they're at home. I don't believe that. I think Carolina is much better. I don't see Denver winning. So we'll take Carolina -3.
And feeling good about it as well. I really do. Like, this was one of those picks that you and I, like, as soon as we saw we started talking on Tuesday, then we see the card on Wednesday, and we were kind of locked in on this one. So I feel very confident in this one as well. Next pick, we're looking at taking another road favorite this time. We're taking the Chiefs, 7-point favorites on the card over the Dolphins. Seeing this line also staying here at 7. But the Dolphins, I mean, listen, yes, their defense is what it's all about, but it's their defense against the Chiefs offense, because now we're looking at, COVID hitting Miami. They just lost their running back. They're going to end up having to dig deep to get some semblance of a running game, which is really the only place where the Chiefs defense is that vulnerable. So I like this one here, man. I mean, you give me Tyreek Hill working out of the slot against Nick Needham. I mean, I don't care how strong Xavier Howard's season is, or Byron Jones, or however their cover corners are doing on the outside. Tyreek can shred this team. Mahomes can shred this team. I like the Chiefs -7.
Look, the Dolphins have been great against the spread. One of the best teams in the NFL. They're 9-3 this year against the spread, and 8-4 on the season. This to me it's a little tough looking at it and laying 7 points in a game. The way I feel about this game is going to sound a little wild. Is that either the Chiefs are going to cover and win, or they're going to lose the game outright. The only thing that worries me a little bit about this one is when Miami played Philadelphia last year, where Philadelphia was a huge favorite coming in, and Miami ended up beating them outright, and that kind of started that surge that they went on in the last few games of the season. But that was also with Fitzpatrick, and while I do think Tua is going to be very good, I am concerned what would happen if Kansas City be up, let's say, 21-10 in this game. I just don't see Miami coming back in that scenario. So either it's an outright win for Miami for me, or the Chiefs win and cover by a reasonable amount. So intriguing game for sure. Also, even though I said I don't like to go back and look at things and look at weeks, I mean, odds of the Chiefs not covering 2 weeks in a row, a team that's probably the best team in the NFL, it's something that I want to bet against. I want to bet that they will cover this week, and they're 500 against the spread this year. So we'll take the Chiefs -7. Every game can't look perfect on paper. We got to take a few chances.
Right? I mean, the spreads overall for this week have all been, there's a lot of 2s and 3s, a lot of, very tight games. Even the 7.5 point ones are still pretty tight. It's Seahawks Jets is the ugliest spread, and we're not even touching that game. The game that we are touching next, and it will be our third favorite, which is a rarity for us. Like, to take 3 favorites and 2 dogs, not something we usually like to do. I actually feel really strongly about this third pick, though, or fourth overall. Colts on the road. We're laying 3 to the Raiders. Sorry, man. It's all about the Colts defense for me. And we've talked about this all season long. From, I think it was like week 2, week 3, where you said, give me a defense that you feel comfortable with. And yeah, have the Colts had their stumbling blocks? Sure, once or twice. But overall, man, I'm telling you, the Raiders just barely got past the Jets. They needed the Jets to shoot themselves in the foot twice and then still get a last-minute bomb to Henry Ruggs to win that game, let alone, even think about a cover. They didn't cover the Jets on that spread. So I look at the Colts here. I think their offense is solid enough to beat the Raiders, and I think that the defense, I think we'll get a defensive touchdown or 2. Derek Carr is not coming up with a 300-yard, 3-touchdown game again. I think he goes right back in the tank.
And 2 weeks ago, they got blown out by Atlanta, the Raiders. It's concerning that 2 years in a row, by the way, that this has happened to them. I thought 2 years ago they were heading toward the playoffs. They had some really big wins. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they beat the Colts in Indianapolis last year. I think that was the first game they won and then completely fell apart. The reason why I think we're getting a little value here is if Ruggs does not catch that pass and the Jets win, I believe the Colts are a bigger favorite. Not a lot, but bigger. Probably 4.5. Why? Based on one mistake from what the Jets made, the Colts opened up at 1.5. It went to 3. It's kind of where it is now. I think you're right. I think that's the one team defensively in a season that hasn't shown any defense for almost any team. The Colts are the one team that does seem to play outside of that Tennessee game, I think, that seemed to play very well. And look, a lot of these lines are very close this week. Do I think that the Colts are going to blow out the Raiders? No. Do I think this could come down to the end? Of course. And some of these games do also. But it's not like we have a hook here. 3.5. We got the 3. We don't certainly want to push here, but provided the Colts can just stay in the game, I think they got a good shot to beat the Raiders. And I don't know, Howard, we're going to have to think about why this is happening with them 2 years in a row, because Atlanta and the Jets are the bottom of the NFL, and they have looked bad against them 2 weeks in a row. Games they should win.
There are some teams who just play down to their competition, and they can't recover from it. We've seen it before. We've seen it with a number of teams who just, they're a good, solid favorite in the game, and they're going up a game that an opponent who they should easily beat, and they just keep coming up short. Like our next pick.
The ugly one.
Oh man, it's kind of funny. So far we've taken 3 of the 1 o'clock games, and now we're about to take our second 4 o'clock game. So we might as well just 3 and 2 this week. Is that where we're at?
When it gets dark, so do we.
And cold. All right, last game that we're picking here. We are taking the Chargers, 2.5 points. With that. They are a home dog here to the Falcons. Falcons traveling across country. Falcons playing without Julio Jones. Matt Ryan is a totally different quarterback when he's playing without Julio. Chargers secondary is talented enough to worry, to take care of a guy like Ridley. There is no running game in Atlanta because Todd Gurley is a disaster, and so are all of his backups. And then the Cardinal rule. Chargers as a home favorite, never. Chargers as a home dog, that's what hits.
Yes, there it is. And look, I know that this is not going to be popular for a lot of people. We do have to take some teams that others are not going to take, and we have not taken the Chargers all season long. I think this is it. This is the first time that we've done it. It's not that there isn't value on a team. There's always going to be value somewhere. And we swear off teams, and then we kid around and we take them again. It's just part of what we do. But the other part that I absolutely love, well, there's 2 things that I love. The first thing that I love is the fact that this line has just gone all the way down. I don't want the Chargers to be a favorite tomorrow. I want that line to be pick'em, and right now it's edging toward that. Falcons are only 1. We're getting 2.5. So I do like that. I do think that the line movement is correct there. But I love taking a team at its lowest point. I do. I think that you're getting so much value for people who go off what they saw the week before. What did we see the week before? 3 special teams touchdowns? 3? I know the Chargers didn't score, okay? But 3 special teams touchdowns. It's not happening again this week against Atlanta. I mean, maybe there's 1. There's not going to be 2 or 3. Herbert has played well all season. It's just them giving up games late. That's really been the deal. For as bad as the Chargers have been, their record against the spread is 5-7. It's not terrible. It's going to be 7-9 at the end of the year, or 8-8. And I love the spot. I do. 45-0. Everyone's looking at that last week. They're forgetting that the Chargers have scored a lot of points against a lot of teams this year. It's just they crumble late and they lose. This dude that coaches the Falcons kicks field goals every time they get in the red zone. Every time. They never go for it. This guy Koo over and over and over again. So you think the Falcons are going to put a 50 spot up on the Chargers without them scoring like New England? No way. This guy's going to be kicking field goals. He thinks he's going to be the coach next year. When you think you're going to be the coach, like Vic Fangio and the guy on the Falcons, who is it? Morris? What do? I want to win. I don't care. All I'm coaching for is this year. I'm not taking any chances. Just give me the points, and I'm happy. Call me Romeo Crennel, whoever. Just give me as few points as possible so I can blow it at the end of the game. Chargers win the game this week. Chargers finally get back again. You said it. Home dog. Chargers. Don't ever bet the Chargers as a favorite. You'll never win. Never. Take the points.
There you go. All right. So there you go. So those are our picks here. Jaguars plus 7.5. Again, some of these lines have moved. So if you're going to bet these games, check and see where the lines are. The weekly card for the Super Contest locks on Wednesday. So we get these lines as of Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe, is when they come out. So Jaguars plus 7.5, Panthers -3, Chiefs -7, Colts -3, Chargers plus 2.5.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about a couple of other picks that we talked about, but we did not go with. Another one was we basically feel that between the Packers laying big points on the road and the Chiefs laying big points on the road, that the odds of both of those winning and covering are slim. So we picked one. That's why we did not use both. We both like those picks, but odds are telling us that that's not going to happen. Someone is going to pull an upset or going to cover. So we do like Green Bay a little bit also, but you're laying big road points. Your odds of winning consistently are almost nothing. And look, I texted you last week that we should be fading the Cardinals the rest of the season. I did because I've seen them play now for a month. They look as bad as any team to me in the NFL. That's true. this pick seems too easy to take the Giants. I feel like they're going to be the number one pick team in the contest tomorrow. And as badly as I want to take the Giants and as well as they have played, I feel like there's a trap here. Like I feel like the Cardinals may win. I don't know. I just don't get how the Cardinals are favored by 3 based on the way they've won one game on a Hail Mary in the last month and a half. And
if the line were 3, I think that we'd be more inclined to taking it. It's just Giants getting a 1.5 here. That's
I got 3 here. I see Cardinals -3. Is it less than that?
That might be where the line is right now.
Yeah. And that's why
right now it's the Super Contest is +1.5 for the Giants.
And I feel more comfortable with that. But the way the money is going, it's just a strange play for me because it's like when I close my eyes and dream about this game, I think the Giants are going to win and they should be a little bit of a favorite in this game. Why are they not? Why are they not a favorite? Aren't they better than the Cardinals? They're playing much better than the Cardinals. They got their quarterback back.
Yeah. And they're getting Daniel Jones back.
Yeah, so it tells me the Cardinals maybe bounce back and they're the winner here. I couldn't do it. When it's too good to be true and it seems too easy, I'm usually not in on that. So something's odd about that game. And then the other game that's odd when I saw the line earlier in the week because it seemed too easy. Another home dog was Cincinnati, but I don't really know enough about them honestly to. Like, what's going on with them? It seems like their personnel is out. I don't think Dallas should be a favorite over anyone, let alone on the road. I don't get that. I think if you took the Dallas Cowboys name away and inserted, like, any other NFL team, I think the Bengals are probably favored this week. I don't get this. I don't understand it. But when I don't understand the line, I usually I'm like, I'm not going to be Joe Public and take the pick. So those are the other.
We've dealt with that, when the Super Contest picks come out and we see who the top 5 most picked teams are, we know basically where we're going to finish in the for the week.
Yeah, we know we're going to go. Top 5 this year has been okay. This is probably the best year for the top 5. I think it's like 500 or close to it or like a game above, which is rare. Usually the top 5 is like 40% on the season because it's the most picked teams. But
so if that's the case, how come we only have like 30 teams shooting 60% right now? You'd think it would be more.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to go back and dig and see what the research is. But the top 5 consensus is not a complete disaster like it normally is. In fact, I think last year it started off 1-14 or something insane like that. But this year maybe not. I don't know why. It's a good question. I'll have to check that out. The other game we liked maybe taking the 49ers as just a monster contrarian play because again, Washington. Everyone's going to take Washington this week. They're playing great. They look fantastic. Why are they a dog? It's a great. Right. Everyone loves to take a dog and seems like Washington is the pick, but why are the 49ers favored? They're not even at home. How in the world are they favored in Arizona against Washington? They're playing better than they are, but something's off there.
Something's not right.
And then the other one that's interesting, we're not going to mess with it, and we'll end with this, is the Monday night game. I believe in the contest, if I'm not mistaken, the Ravens are -1. Am I right about that? I think they're -1 Monday night.
In the Super Contest, yeah, it's Ravens -1.
And they're up to 3, so that's kind of the biggest move of the week for any game. It's like the biggest move of the week. They're up to 3. So, interesting at least.
I would say so. I'm trying to think if there were any other games that I was really kind of hemming and hawing about, but no, not really. Not really. I like where we're at here. I really do. Because these other games, I got to tell you, man, I just, when you're talking like 49ers, Washington, like you said, Bills Steelers wasn't one that I really wanted to be a piece of.
If anybody can tell you, if anybody has a strong opinion about Texans Bears, they're lying. They're lying.
And I got to tell you, I kind of feel the same way about Bucks Vikings. Yeah, you know me. I've usually got a good beat on the Vikings, but this game, I just, I look at, I think everybody's kind of forgetting how bad that Vikings defense is. Yet, Bucks defense has been giving up a lot of points lately. So, yeah, scratching the head.
Yeah, I don't mind when 2 bad teams play like Houston and Chicago, but like. Would anything surprise you in that game? I mean, if the Bears won, wouldn't shock me. Texans won, wouldn't shock me. Houston played very well last week. They just fumbled at the end of the game, and they could have easily won. Houston to me is such a one-man show. I don't know that I've seen this among any team in the NFL. It reminds me of like the end of Steve Young's run in with the 49ers, how it's just all Watson and Watt, of course, on defense. They have some defensive players, but Watson is so good. He is just, it's a shame. I hope this is not his career, playing here and just getting nothing out of it, because
you'd like to think that they would set him up with a better offensive line. I mean, listen, Bill O'Brien trading away DeAndre Hopkins was a horrible move. We already know it's a horrible move. But if they built up that offensive line a little bit and they get him a much more consistent weapon, changes the whole dynamic of this team. I think we might be thinking a little differently if Will Fuller didn't get suspended for the final 6 weeks.
Yeah, I just think he's great. I watched that game very closely against Indianapolis, and we consider them the best or among the best defenses. They almost had him about 1 million times. I just don't know. Maybe like Vic, that a guy that you just couldn't get. You just can't get this guy. And how many times is Houston in a game at the end with a chance to win? They don't always win, but they're always, it's like 3 minutes to go. They give it to Houston. They're driving down. What are they going to do? Either going to win, they're going to miss a field goal, they're going to fumble, they're going to lose. I mean, you just don't know. But he is fantastic to watch, man. He's great, and it's a shame because that team should not be 4-6 with him.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here with our picks. Appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, been trailing our picks. By the way, 53.8% right now for us, Craig, and looking up.
If we get to 55 at the end of the season, come on. You can't really be upset with that. Go 3-2 the rest of the way. I know our goal is to obviously cash this, but realistically speaking, based on the last 3 years, and I would suppose that there are a lot of other people that pick in the Super Contest that do streams like us and have businesses and do this like us. I'd put up our picks and our percentage against anybody else in the country that does this for a living. I would. I'd love to see their head-to-head record. And you're talking about 3 years now doing it. So I'm very I don't say that often here, but I am very happy that we've gotten to this point. It doesn't seem like a lot to be excited about, 53%, but for those of you who make your blind picks or who make your picks with nothing behind them, throw some money into this thing and see how you do, as opposed to picking all 15 games and saying, "Oh, I won 10-5. Congratulations." Now take out 5 of those and pick your favorite ones and see how you do. It's not easy.
No doubt. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in. Big thanks to Matt Sells, our producer today. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. Good luck in week 14. We'll catch you next time.